Okay, so yeah, we're basically just gonna take this one facet at a time. I'll set a timer for 8 minutes. Obviously, if you need more time, we can add some on. You guys will just take this and then I'll read through the answers and then answer any of the questions that you guys have. So, we'll get started on this passage.
Bless you.
good to go over answers? Wonderful. Okay, so number 1 is gonna be B. 2 is G. 3 is C. 4 is J. 5 is A. 6 is G. 7 is B. 8 is J. 9 is B. 10 is F. 11 is D. 12 is J. 13 is B. 14 is G. And 15 is C. Anyone get these all right?
What was number 2?
2 is G.
That's not what she asked.
Yeah, I know.
Alright, 1 wrong. 2 wrong. 3 wrong.
Can we go over
Awesome.
12?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
12,
Yeah,
for sure.
that one was really.
Okay. Yeah, this one, okay. So, it says, which of the following alternatives to the underlying portion would be least acceptable? So yeah, something to think about, obviously, is like, whether it's least, or sometimes it'll say like, which of the following is false, or like, which is not correct. So just make sure that you're looking at that. I personally don't like this question though, so did you guys put H?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too.
I don't agree with this.
I don't know, I don't even know what vaccinating means.
If facilitating is just like back and forth kind of,
I don't know what it
Yeah.
nor how to pronounce it.
but, cause like throughout the entire, passage, it like just maintains a very informal tone, because it's their own personal experience. And facilitating is very formal, as opposed to like wavering, alternating, and teetering, like, I don't know, this one's tough, and I like, cause sometimes what they'll do is they'll accidentally say it's like J, but then in the explanations, it'll say like H or whatever, but I checked and it wasn't H. So, yeah, I personally have some issues with this one, so, I don't know, like, if this was on an actual test, just use your best discretion. But I just chose facilitating because I thought it was too formal, and that's basically what this question is asking you. So as long as you, like, kind of employed that logic, I'm really not gonna be upset, like, I got this one wrong too. So, they said that teetering was too informal. So it kind of is difficult just because it's up to their discretion a lot. But again, it's not really the issue of this one problem, as long as you like understand how to employ it to other similar problems in the future. And from what I've taken, most of them are not this arbitrary and objective kind of. But yeah. Any other questions you wanna go over?
There's 3.
All good for this passage?
English is the
Okay. So we will basically just go over passage 2. Was 8 minutes good?
Yeah.
Less, more? Whatever. Wonderful. Okay, so yeah, 8 minutes, we'll do this one and go over
Oh,
answers.
wow, they put you straight up on the 30.
Passage 3 now.
Caleb, how'd you do? What?
33.
Okay.
I'm good at English though, so I don't care.
Are we starting?
Continue where I'm at.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Anyways.
Okay, all good to go for answers? Wonderful. Alright, so number 16 is gonna be G, 17 is A, 18 is J, 19 is B, 20 is F, 21 is A, 22 is G, 23 is D, 24 is F, 25 is B, 26 is J, 27 is D, 28 is G, 29 is A, and 30 is F. Anyone get these all right? Awesome, one
No,
wrong,
there was anything on the back.
2 wrong, 3 wrong. Awesome. Okay, so what are some questions that we wanna review for this passage? 24?
Yeah, I
For sure.
don't know. that
Okay.
one.
So it says, given that all of the choices are true, which of the following would most effectively introduce the subject of this paragraph? So, whenever there's a question like this, you really can't answer it until you know what the subject of the paragraph actually is. So, I usually just take a start of this one, and then read through the paragraph, answering any other questions, and then, once I've read the paragraph and kind of determined what the main idea of it is, then I go back to this question. So, if you read through this paragraph, it basically talks about like the specifics of how he made his little shop for blacksmithing, basically. So then if you go throughout the answer choices, the one that's right, no change, says, once he obtained his portable forge, he was ready to build his blacksmith's shop, commonly referred to as a smithy. So that's one option. And then G, obtaining a portable forge proved to be his biggest challenge. I kinda already talked about that one previously, and it doesn't really mention it elsewhere in the paragraph, so eliminate that one. Blacksmith shops can be difficult to construct, but the most challenging task is moving the necessary equipment into the shop. Again, it kind of more focused on the building aspect of the shop than actually moving stuff into there. It kind of talks about that, just in a different area. And then J, a blacksmith's forge requires some type of blower in order to keep the fire hot enough. Again, doesn't even really mention the shop, so that one's gonna be incorrect as well. So basically, main idea is that F kind of just matches the main idea of the specific paragraph the best. Any other questions?
I wanna look over number 19.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so which of the following alternatives to the underlying portion would not be acceptable? So that's the first case, just to make sure that you see that. So the right answer is gonna be B, where it says a most intractable metal or material, that being iron. So I'm just gonna write this up here because it's kind of easier. I was gonna say, Okay.
I was in past tense.
so this answer choice, basically, this like entire question was, testing over punctuation. Cause it might not seem like it, cause obviously it's like over sentence structure as well, but in all of these, except this one, it has a by the way phrase, where it's either like comma, iron, comma, or like something along those lines. But this one, it's missing a comma. So if it had a comma after iron, then this would be your by the way phrase, and it would read straight through, the idea of creating an object out of a most intractable iron appealed to him. That makes sense, but since there's not a comma here, basically it just like cuts up the flow to it and puts a weird pause in there that's not complemented by another pause. So basically, like I said before, all the other ones have, at least like 2 commas or 2 dashes. This one only has 1, so it's not a complete by the way phrase.
I was confused about the dashes.
Okay, so, did we go over dashes last time?
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, basically, you can use dashes in the same way that you can use commas for by the way phrases. It's never like, so this one seems like it's asking you, like, are dashes better than commas? But basically, both are grammatically correct, so that's why C would be acceptable. Any other questions over this passage? All good? Awesome. Okay, we will move along to passage 3 then. all good to go for answers? Awesome. Alright, so 31 is gonna be D. 32 is F. 33 is A. 34 is H. 35 is D. 36 is F. 37 is A. 38 is J. 39 is D. 40 is F. 41 is A. 42 is H. 43 is C. 44 is J. And 45 is C.
Started off good.
Anyone get these all right?
I got one wrong.
One wrong. Two wrong. Three wrong. Awesome. Okay, so what are some questions that we wanna go over for this passage?
Yeah, seriously.
I kind of agree. I started off strong, I just,
Any specific questions? Yeah?
37.
Yeah.
37 for sure. Okay, so it says, assuming that all the choices are true, which one best links the preceding sentence with the rest of the paragraph? So again, since it talks about the rest of the paragraph, you're gonna have to read through the rest of it to understand it. Basically it just talks about how she really didn't go to the doctor, she just looked online for it. And then, obviously, it has to link the preceding sentence, so it kinda has to tie them together. So the preceding sentence says, my sister characteristically chose not to seek medical treatment as her upper arm swelled and ached with pain and finally became numb and useless. So, basically, it's saying that like, she didn't go to the doctor, and then it talks about what she did instead of going to the doctor. And A basically just explains why, because it says that she doesn't trust hospitals, doctors, or nurses. B, most scorpion bites should be examined by a medical professional, even though like obviously that's true and it's relevant to the passage as a whole. It's not really specific to her situation, so I eliminated that one. It says my sister's physician had treated many scorpion bites. Again, isn't really relevant to like her personal experience right like in that instance. And then symptoms of a scorpion sting can vary from one person to another, even though that's true and it is dealing with the same topic. It's not talking about what she's doing in that moment. Other questions you wanna go through?
38.
38, 40, did you say? Awesome, okay, so let's start with 38. It says, okay, so basically, it's just checking kind of like your concept of redundancy and efficiency. So if you read the entire sentence, it says, scorpions will sting anyone they accidentally encounter as they crawl into human habitats. So even though, like, what is it, F, G, even H are all grammatically correct, they're all redundant because in that sentence it says accidentally encounter. So accidentally and inadvertently are basically the same thing. So then that's kind of just like ties back to why it's important to read the entire sentence, because I've done that way too many times to count too, where like you just kind of get in a rush. But just make sure that you're reading the entire sentence that includes that underlying portion. And then 40, did you say?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so basically this is kind of just testing your concept of sentence structure. So it says, of the 90 scorpion species native to the US, 30% live in Arizona. So basically all the other ones are just kind of clunky and not grammatically correct. So G, when it says in Arizona, about 30% of the 90 scorpion species native to the United States live, that is like, I think it's passive voice, that's what it's called. But basically it's just like, I don't even know how to like describe it, but like, it's not focusing so much on the action being done, but like, what the action is, or what is receiving the action. And ACT always prefers active voice rather than passive voice. So then, that's G. H says, Arizona has about 30% of the 90 scorpion species living in the United States. That one's just kinda weird, cause it like throws a comma in there when it's not necessary. And then J, of the 90 species of scorpions, 30% native to the United States, live in Arizona. So that implies that like, I don't even know how to describe that one, but it's saying that like, they're not, like, the actual passage implies that, they're native to Arizona more, I guess. But what one did you put for this one, I
I
guess?
put J.
Okay, so, what even is the difference? So I guess the part that's kinda like tripping me up, cause like, it sounds wrong, it's just kinda hard to define why it is wrong. It says 30% native to the United States live in Arizona, as opposed to 30% live in Arizona. Oh, okay. So basically, when it says of the 90 species of scorpions, it should say like in the United States, but it doesn't really clarify that in the first part. It kind of just throws it into the second part, so then it's not really clear, I guess. So when it says of the 90 species of scorpions, it needs to clarify from the United States within that. And that's what F does that J doesn't.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
42.
For sure. Okay, so it says, if the author were to delete the phrase both outside and inside, the essay would primarily lose a detail that, what? So it says, it supports the reference to the scorpion's behavior. So what did you put for this one?
I put G.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, this one is kind of, objective, no.
Subjective.
Subjective. So throughout the passage, or not the passage, throughout the paragraph, it talks about how like they are both inside homes and outside homes. So obviously like they're not gonna go barefoot out in the dark like outside. But it just kind of reinforces that they're both outside and inside. And then obviously that's about the scorpion's behavior, because they can be both like in the home and outside the home. Any other questions over this passage? All good? Awesome. Okay, so we are going to call it a day then, because technically we only have 4 minutes and we started late. So yeah, just make sure you're keeping up on the homework. Actually, has Manoj assigned you homework?
For today, or?
Okay, cause like sometimes he like gives a sheet, but he did he not give you guys a sheet?
No.
No.
I don't know what the homework should.
Do you want us to finish the?
Finish the passages.
Yeah, I would say just do those 2 passages for English. But yeah, when do you guys go back to school?
Monday.
Okay.
Maybe.
Coronavirus.
Yeah.
It's corona.
Depends what Corona wants us to do.
Yeah.